What is up, everybody? This is DawgsHQ, and we're going to bring KJ Bolden's live announcement, final decision. Roos, I got nothing for you at this point. It's like I think Georgia's in a pretty good spot, but this thing has bit us before. It's been unpredictable before. Oh my God! I just saw how many people are watching this thing. This is crazy. So I hope they don't break DawgsHQ's YouTube channel.
Today's the day, my friends. We've been waiting on it. Like I said, twists and turns in the last 24 hours, and we'll be soon. Rusty Mansell live on site with you. We'll be bringing in his video here just shortly. Yeah, going to be definitely one to watch, Jake. It's been crazy these last, like I said, 24 hours, man. It feels like it's just been ups and downs and twists and turns and a little bit of everything. And like you said, I give KJ credit because he didn't put everybody through this for the entirety of all of this. You know, I mean, it wasn't like this has been one of those situations that just got drug on and on. All of this kind of fired back up in the last couple of days.
Yeah, and that's something we talked about a minute ago. I mean, it's, this could have been, back and forth, on and off, over and over and over again. He didn't do that. And listen, I know Georgia fans got a little sore about this kid back when he committed to Florida State. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was before the season, and Florida State hadn't really busted out, and there was just this idea that anybody's crazy if they don't go to Georgia. Folks, I get that. The development's incredible at Georgia. But at the end of the day, sometimes these kids want to go somewhere and maybe try to build something. And I know there was a lot of talk of, NIL and whatever. Listen, that's part of the game now. That is part of the game. And you can't tell me that many of you for a large sum of money and all that stuff wouldn't, make some different decisions. It's a hectic world out there. It's not just hectic for the coaches. It's hectic for the kids. And listen, I don't care what he decides today. I've never heard anything but good things about KJ. And I'm telling you, whoever gets him, Jake, is going to get a fantastic football player, because I've got the opinion of this guy. He could play safety. He could play star. Hell, I think he could probably be a pretty dang good corner at the next level, and he could probably play wide out as well. He's a special football player.
He's one of those guys too, that, he's kind of been a dude for years and years at this point. And one of the big advantages of that is when that's the case, those kids get developed so heavily, right? They get guys who are taking them in. And so they're in the nutrition, they're in the weights, they're in the speed training. So they understand it, man. They come from a different mentality and a different kind of work ethic than a lot of kids do, because, it's not new to KJ Bolden to be recruited. It's not new to KJ Bolden to think about being a star athlete in college football. He's been capable of doing all of those things for a long, long time at this point, and much to the benefit of himself and his long-term prospects, I think.
That's right. And let's talk a little bit about what's going on for Georgia today. All 27 commitments are in since we broke from our previous show. Georgia has signed Chris Jones. That's 27 out of 27. Before 12, was 12:09 p.m. I think was when the final one came in. There was only one signee, one in the afternoon. And give us a recap. You're the recruiting guy. You're the one that's kind of involved with these guys. Talk to me about some of these dudes that you have seen over the years, seen locally, some guys that have impressed you. I just want everybody to get a better understanding of what Georgia has already done today.
Well, it's really a situation for Georgia where they do have the #1 class in America, and they've done an incredible job landing that group. That's really what this boils down to. And for me, it starts at the top, right? The top two commits in this class, Ellis Robinson and Justin Williams, consensus #1 players amongst every single recruiting service in the country. That is such a rarity. That's what I try to hammer home to people, is that, you just don't get, there's so many people involved in these evaluations. There's so many people that are taking part in these rankings processes. There are so many people in the ears of everybody. Very rare that you get a situation where people say, all these minds come together and agree, this guy is the one. There's regional bias to this. People are seeing guys more than others, et cetera, et cetera. There's all of these reasons why that may not be the case. All of these guys have been agreed upon by all of the experts in this industry. And that's coming from feedback from coaches. That's coming from feedback from testing. That's coming from feedback from film. That's in-person evaluations. So on all of these levels, everyone continues to see the same thing with Ellis Robinson and Justin Williams, the number one corner in America and the number one linebacker in America. To me, that is such a huge currency, especially at key positions like that, where Georgia has done so well. Ellis Robinson, for my money, one of the most exciting cornerback prospects I've covered since I've been a part of this. Just kind of wire to wire, number one corner, no real concerns in that way. People haven't really kind of gone back and forth on this guy. He's just been a dude since he came on the radar, and everybody knew about it. Justin Williams, one of those guys that, was in the mix, but you didn't know he was in the mix for Georgia, right? And then suddenly that all picked up so quickly. About the time that Joseph Jonah-Ajayi's offer dropped, which I think was April, May-ish, when that all started to pick up and that groundswell started to come together, and then you see Georgia land two guys like this, man, just an outstanding group. We talked about the offensive line earlier, and I think that that's an incredible group when you're talking about what Georgia's been able to do there. Not a nationally super strong class, in my opinion, and I think most people would agree with me on that. But they went out and put together a group, 6 people deep, of gigantic humans and some of the best available players in this class as well. So really love what they did there. I think Georgia really kind of exceeded my expectations in what they did in the offensive line. And this group, like I said before, I think at least 2 impact makers down the line. Excited to see how they progress. And Stacey Searles deserves a ton of credit for what he's done. You look over at the defensive line, and I mentioned Joseph Jonah-Ajayi. Now, that's a kid with all the upside in the world. And what I love about it most, he's coming in a full year early, and he's not like he reclassified. He's not one of those dudes. He just early. I think he's a guy who can be a difference maker at the next level. You've already heard a little bit of buzz for this, and I think that it's one of those things that's just it's hard to put a price on a kid like this in terms of the importance of what Georgia wants to do in the trenches. He's young in his football career. He's just getting started. I think this is his 3rd, maybe 4th year he's played. He's coming into his body at 6'4", 280 pounds roughly in that area. Moves so well. You go watch him play that, and man, I'm excited too to see him and Justin Williams playing behind him just like they did at Oak Ridge High School in Conroe, Texas. That's a lethal combo for Oak Ridge, and I think it has a chance to be again for Georgia. Justin Green, one of those guys we haven't talked about a lot in this class, but I think can be a major impact maker. A guy who didn't get the hype some of these guys got. He's at Mountain View, not a traditional powerhouse in Lawrenceville, Georgia, but a super important addition to this class. Love where he's at. Nnamdi Agboko, also in the group. You got to really kind of wonder what the upside is on this kid, man, because he got all the upside in the world, according to those around him. Now, he's only played football for 2 years now, kind of similar to Jonah-Ajayi in that way. But I think that he's a guy who can do it at a high level with the proper coaching. And that was one of the things his coach said. He loves the coaching. That's what really encourages him about it. I mentioned Justin Williams, talking little bit about these inside linebackers. Chris Cole, man, 6'2.5", 210. Reminds you of that frame of Smile Munden a little bit. Long, quick, explosive over there. I think it's one of those things that he has a chance to get in and surprise some people, because everybody's hung up certainly on Williams. And Chris Jones, another guy, injured in his senior year, so he didn't get to see the best of what he had to do. And looking forward to seeing how he develops when he bounces back from this injury. Had surgery his senior year, came back a limited role, played a few snaps at D-line in the late season, and had a couple of sacks from what I spoke to. So really intrigued to see how this group goes. And you get the sense, man, look at Glenn Schumann out here. I mean, just continuing to restock the cupboard. You can't say enough about the guy and what he's able to do. I think also, too, you've got to go look over at what they've done in the defensive backfield. KJ Bolden would be a great addition to it, no question about it. But you get Ellis Robinson, but then DeMello Jones. We were talking enough about him either down there in Swainsboro, Middle Georgia. one of those guys that, just a DSGB, they call him, down there in Swainsboro. Jake Rowe, I thought you were gone. I thought you were in the weeds there for a second, man. I'm about to be out of air, brother. I was up here delivering the sermon. I just got caught in the spirit, my friend.
I told Roos, I sent Roos a message, hey, I need you to preach to him for a minute. I got something I got to take care of. Man, National Signing Day never disappoints. It just never disappoints. There's so much that happens on a day like this, and we're juggling a lot of different stuff. Don't know what's going on with the comments. Sorry if you're unable to comment and we're unable to see it. That was not something we anticipated. But listen, I'm looking, and there's around 1,000 people watching this at once, and we appreciate all of you. These ceremonies do tend to drag out a little bit, and that's kind of why we wanted to do this. I mean, we've got Rusty backstage right now. We're kind of able to see what's going on at Buford High School. There are a lot of folks up on stage there, and they are seeing, you're able to kind of see what's going on, but we didn't want to take y'all through the whole ceremony. Heck, I mean, I know Georgia fans probably don't want to see Dylan Raiola and what's going on there. I mean, although I've said multiple times, I can't fault the kid for the decision to go.
I think he was going to read some Robert Frost today, though.
I can't fault that kid for
the
taking
road less traveled
resistance. Yeah, exactly. Maybe the road, with the least obstructions. Just kind of contrary to that poem a little bit of the antithesis of that. But I don't blame him. I mean, listen, it's tough to get a shot, and the days of Stetson Bennett's and Carson Beck's just sitting around waiting for it, they're largely over. The DJ Shockley stories, guys just waiting around several years or a few years for their turn. That just doesn't happen. But listen, we know that Georgia fans probably don't want to be included on, that particular thing. And we're trying to give you what you want, but there is a ceremony right now. We're able to see a little bit of it going on at Buford High School. Roos, I don't think there would be anything wrong with kind of just giving folks a little bit of a look at what's going on there right now. So let's do that for just a second. That's kind of what it looks like there at Buford High School for everybody that's kind of wanting to understand what we're looking at there. Kobe Blackwell is about to make his decision. We are told that KJ Bolden will be going last.
Shocking, right?
Shocking, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, nothing matches up to the basketball commitment ceremony of Tony Parker years ago. That was something special. That thing lasted about 50 minutes. And then once the right man got on the microphone, it lasted about 5 seconds and it was over. No elves that I'm able to see at Buford High School. No Christmas pageants.
But again, what a testament to Buford. And I know Georgia fans, not a lot of love lost for the program over with the Wolves, but a testament to what they're able to use. So many years on stage, getting their college paid for. Having an opportunity to play football and do something they love at the next level. Buford consistently does that, man. And those coaches and that community deserve a lot of credit for being able to do that on the basis that they're able to do that. Because it is impressive.
Bruce, let's talk about this Georgia. Let's get back to this Georgia class for a little bit as we're kind of waiting on everything to unfold here with KJ Bolden. Who is your favorite commitment for Georgia in this class? Doesn't even have to be kind of an under the radar guy, but who's the guy that you look at and maybe you don't even necessarily think he's going to be the best player in this class, but a guy that maybe you enjoyed covering or enjoyed watching over the time?
There were some great ones in this class, man. I really enjoyed covering Joseph Jonah Ajanye. He was just a great kid to talk to, a cool story. I love these kids who come over, from Africa, from Nigeria. They don't even really know the game, and they come over and they kind of find their footing, and it all sort of just happens for them. And he's able to handle it with the maturity that he does. I think that that's such a cool story. Marcus Harrison is a guy who really intrigues me as well, man, just because you want to talk. I mean, the guy looks like a Russian assassin, but he's also he got in, he locked it down, he shut it off. And I loved speaking with his coach because Marcus was not interested in speaking, but had a chance to speak with his head coach. And he said, this kid really just loved the idea of the challenge of Georgia and what it could be and what that might mean for him and how that might impact his future. And I just think that was such a neat story to hear. Chris Cole was always a great kid to talk to as well. had a chance to speak to his head coach. And I tell people this, to me, the highest compliment when I talk to a coach that they give me is, if I had a son, I'd want him to be like X. And his head coach said that about Chris Cole. Said, if I had a son, I'd want him to be like Chris Cole. I love hearing that, especially with a kid like that, man. Chris Cole, I think you go back to the end of last year. This time last year, unranked, had a couple of offers, but not a big-time national guy. Now top 50 player in America, and handled it with real grace and humility. So shout out to Chris Cole, man. I really appreciated his time.
Yeah, I'm going to put these guys in a few different boxes here because I didn't recover a lot of them, and there are a lot of them that I haven't spoken with. But I think the guy Georgia fans should appreciate a great deal. Details not even need to be mentioned here, but Ryan Puglisi, the committing and the staying committed and being the way he was when Dylan Raiola joined the class, when Dylan Raiola, jumped out of the class. I mean, he was committed the whole way. Rusty reported that some teams made a last minute move for him and it did not pan out. And then, for them, it did pan out for Georgia, and they were locked in, man. And that was impressive. The guy I enjoyed watching the most over the course of the years, DeMelo Jones. It's not going to shock me. I wouldn't predict it.
Hold on. We're done. All right. We're going to cut over to the Buford ceremony right now.
Rusty, unmute.
41 conference titles. They're coached by Ryan Day and are yearly contenders for conference and national titles. They play their home games at the legendary Horseshoe that seats 102,000 fans. Edric's parents are Sergeant Leslie and Peter Moon. Edric leaves a legacy as a 3-year starter on the defensive line and a tremendously disruptive force. He consistently made opponents run away from his side, greatly benefited the stats of his teammates. In spite of that, Edric is one of the top sack artists in school history with 21 over his career, as well as a great kick blocker with 5 over his career. That might lead us in pretty sure it's explosive history. Honestly, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. Besides all this, if you ask anyone in the community, Edric is probably one of the most beloved players that has ever been a part of our program. Young and old, teacher or athlete, Edric is embraced by all and takes time to encourage all. His kind heart and friendly demeanor has made such an impact here and will continue to be an integral part of the community up in Columbus. Edric Houston. Last but not least, KJ. KJ will be signing that letter of intent to play at the University of Georgia. UGA is located in Athens and is the oldest public university in the country, opening in 1789. It is a well-respected research university that has 30,000 undergraduate students and is a flagship institution of the Georgia University system. The Bulldogs are an NCAA Bowl subdivision school that competes in the SEC. They play their home games at one of the largest on-campus stadiums in the country, Sanford Stadium at Dooley Field, and are coached by 2-time national championship coach Kirby Smart. KJ's parents are Lakeisha and Kai Bolden. KJ leads our program with some really large shoes to fill to the tremendous accomplishments that he leaves behind. He's a 2-year, two-way starter as safety and receiver and kick returner. The highlight of his career will go down as one of the most unique accomplishments in our school's prestigious history. No one's ever done this before, and I'm not sure if anybody's ever done this before in the state of Georgia. 4 touchdowns in the game, 4 different ways: kickoff return, rushing, receiving, and interception. And the kickoff return, I believe, and the interception happened within like 35 to 40 seconds of each other. So it was like, it was amazing what happened in those couple minutes when we were in the QB tonight. His catch to a touchdown ratio was almost as impressive: 27 catches and 17 receiving touchdowns. He was a threat anywhere on the field, On top of all that, KJ grew and matured as a leader as much as any senior we've ever had. You know, KJ came a long way from when he was a freshman, and he'll tell a lot of you guys, stuff that, you know, he thought he knew at that time, and the person he grew into was probably somebody he couldn't see at this moment. But we're just proud of what he did and how he feels that. That makes a legacy of him in this class even longer. KJ will be a joy to watch over the coming years as he continues to grow and compete at the highest level possible. Mr. KJ Bolden. Yeah! All right, now we're done with our this part of the program. I know we have tables outside for the kids if they want. Y'all want the parents want to decorate.
Wow. That's a bombshell for Georgia. Big time National Signing Day edition. KJ Bolden to Georgia. Listen, man, you cannot overstate how important this is for Georgia. And listen, good natured here. I love you, Georgia fans, but maybe Georgia doesn't need to try and do it like Florida State does it. Maybe the way Georgia does it's okay. I'm just saying. You're muted, Roos. Muted.
Oh, there we go. We talked about this. We talked about this in kind of going in, Jake. We talked about it in that earlier segment we did, that how you would grade Georgia's class now. And Rusty and I were talking about this the other day as well. You have a chance here with this kid now to go from, you had nobody at safety in this class. You did not have a true safety. Georgia was not active in the safety market in the transfer portal. It seemed very active in the transfer market. And then you go out and you pick this kid up. I agree with you. It goes from an F to an A at safety recruiting because you bring in a kid of this caliber. Just huge, man. And what a testament, again, to Kirby Smart and company for staying with it, man. There could have been a lot of hard feelings. And I think that for a lot of people in the fan base, there were when KJ chose Florida State the first time. It's one of those situations, though, where they've shown time and time again that they just don't burn those bridges in Athens. And I think that is a major key here. And once again, Georgia lands the #1 safety in America by every major recruiting service. That gives them 4 players in the 2024 class ranked #1 at their position in the class by all 4 major recruiting services. Ellis Robinson, #1 cornerback by all 4 services. Justin Williams, #1 by all 4 services. KJ Bolden, #1 by all 4 services. And then Drew Miller. I'm including Drew because punters need love too, man. So really just an outstanding haul for those guys. And KJ Bolden, what a cherry they put on top of National Signing Day with this kid. Just a tremendous job by Will Muschamp and Kirby Smart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it can be stated enough how big of a role Kirby Smart played in this one. I think you look back, and I told Rusty first thing this morning, one of the things, and Rushu and I talked about it last night, that I got some secondhand info. So I'm not saying I got this directly from KJ or anything like that, but there was a moment after the SEC championship game, Georgia just got its heart broken. Kirby Smart runs over with enthusiasm, taps Alabama safety Caleb Downs on the shoulder, and they share a hug. They talk for a couple minutes. It's very clear there was a lot of respect and admiration and affection there. And I was told KJ saw that, and that spoke, that kind of spoke to him. I don't know if it had anything to do with their decision to flip from Florida State to Georgia here in the final hour. But I know it didn't hurt. And, when stuff like that gets around, I think that's big time helpful. Listen, Fran Brown did a lot of heavy lifting here too. I mean, and I know that KJ didn't commit to Georgia when Fran was there in August, but, Fran helped build that relationship, helped sell Georgia. Massive get for Georgia here. There's just no doubt about it. And like I said, I think this kid can play every position in the secondary if he wants to. I think this kid could probably be a fantastic wideout. You listened to the gentleman kind of emceeing that event talk about all the different accomplishments that KJ had at Buford. And listen, I bet all of that toothpaste that got squeezed out of the tube back on August 5th, we just saw it just get sucked right back in like a Kirby vacuum cleaner, baby.
I'm over here reading the board at DawgsHQ. The first thread is, I've always said I loved Buford High School.
Oh man. Oh, how the tables turn table fast. It goes crazy. It's unreal. But yeah, that's basically it for today, guys. In terms of what Georgia has going on. If there's anything more to update you on, we will be here with you live on this channel. And listen, well, as my phone decides it wants to ring, listen, we're hoping to maybe try to get an interview with KJ. We'll try to get around to that in a bit. But for now, that's all we've got. I'm Jake Rose, Jake Roos, KJ Bolden's a dog. We'll talk to y'all later.